My dear friends and students and all those followers, whether you're a YouTube subscriber, whether you follow on Torah Anytime or on our amazing site, ohelsara.com, thank you so much for tuning in. We are now on the way to the north of Eretz Israel, to the holy cities of Tiberia, Tzfat, and Meron, where the greatest of our sages, the holiest tzaddikim, learned and lived. We will be visiting the grave sites of the Tanaim and Amoraim of the Talmudic era, and even prior to that. These Rabbanim left us a legacy of Torah that has been passed on from one generation to the next. They have helped to expound upon the words of Torah, of Nevi'im and Ketuvim, and they have left their indelible mark on the world. These were magnanimous leaders, men of stature, not only because of their great wisdom and holiness, but because of their humility, their kindness, and good deeds. These were leaders who lived during an era in history where they needed to sacrifice their life in order to learn and teach Torah, and many of them died al Kiddush Hashem, sanctifying Hashem's name because of their great sacrifice. Among the holy Rabbanim of ancient times that we will visit today will be from the 10 martyrs who were executed for their devotion to Torah during the Roman and Babylonian eras. Whenever we have an opportunity to visit the grave sites of the tzaddikim of yesteryear, we're affording ourselves the chance to connect to their legacy, to all their teachings, to their holiness. We're giving ourselves a chance for the influences of their goodness and their wisdom to descend from Shamayim and into our being. We ask them to daven on our behalf to Hashem. We beg them to be our defenders in the heavens. But most importantly, we ask Hashem that in their merit, all of our personal and global requests should be answered at the proper time with joy and without any affliction. We're so honored, and it is indeed a great merit for us today to journey to these tzaddikim just 1 week before the Chag of Lag BaOmer, where hundreds of thousands of Jews will celebrate the Yahrzeit, the Hilulah of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai alav hashalom, the great Talmudic sage who wrote the Zohar HaKadosh. Because we already filmed our visit to Rabbi Shimon in one of our former clips, we will not be filming it again. But we will be visiting the gravesite of the holy sage, and we will pray on behalf of all of our viewers. We want to thank you all for watching, and we hope that our tefillot, that our prayers on behalf of all the followers, all the students, all those who tune in every week will be answered speedily. Okay, ladies, we just arrived to Tiberia, the holy city of Tiberia. As you can see over here on the right is Yam Kinneret, the very famous body of water that the Gemara talks about, that even the Torah talks about. We should really give a shiur just on this body of water because it's such a holy place here. We are now on the way to our first gravesite, which is going to be the gravesite of Yitro, the father-in-law of Moshe Rabbeinu, who we know was the high priest, the Cohen Gadol of Midian at the time. He's like kind of the Pope of Midian, we could say. And then, as we know, when he heard, the Pasuk says, Vayishma Yitro, when Yitro heard about all the miracles that transpired concerning Yetziat Mitzrayim and the splitting of the sea, he converted. Many Goyim, especially the Druzim, they consider him like their number one prophet. So we're going to be going to his gravesite, the father-in-law of Moshe Rabbeinu. At the gravesite, we're not allowed to take our cameras with us because the Druzim who man the caver don't allow cameras into the place. But look at this, look at this, look at this view. Oh, wow. Oh my God! Hashem is so beautiful. Look at this incredible, this is incredible. Look over here. Now, of course, we know that Yitro also had several daughters, one of which married Moshe Rabbeinu, Tzipora. There's a little bit of machloket whether she was the eldest or the youngest, but she was one of his daughters, Zoicha to marry Moshe Rabbeinu. If you listen to one of the shiurim that I gave a couple of weeks ago, we learn about the whole relationship between Moshe Rabbeinu and Yitro, who they really were to each other, and why Tzipora was also involved in that union. And so he was a very, very special person, Yitro. And we're going to have the merit to daven at his kever. So we'll see you soon. Okay, we are now at the gravesite of Yitro. It's a huge, huge building. The truth is, I don't think I can film the whole thing. Right at the very, very top, you see that top? Is where he's buried. Right now, we're not allowed in because there's some kind of function taking place, but we're going to pray from outside the building, and then we're going to go down to a specific valley where we're going to tell you a little bit about that. So here we are at the kever of Yitro, the father-in-law of Moshe Rabbeinu, who you know from the shiurim was also a gilgul of who? Of Cain. Of Cain. So this is a big tikkun for us over here to help Cain do his tikkun here on earth. One thing I want you guys to remember is that we have to be grateful to Yitro. We have to have a karat tov for this man, because when Moshe Rabbeinu escaped the clutches of Paro after he killed the Mitzri and he had to run away, and he was pretty much a refugee, and Paro put a bounty on his head, Yitro was the only one who was willing to house Moshe Rabbeinu despite the threats from Mitzrayim. And that's where he lived for many years in Midian together with Yitro and his entire family. Yitro gave a lot of kavod, a lot of honor to Moshe Rabbeinu. And he housed him, and he fed him, and he gave him one of his daughters. So we have to be grateful for this to this man. Okay, now what you're seeing here, do you see here, I'm going to point it out with my finger, this valley here. Looks like a U. You see that? Right at the very bottom, there are over there, we won't be able to get to it today, unfortunately, because you have to actually get out of the car and walk a lot. But right over there is buried quite a number of tzaddikim. Among them, by the way, is the son of Adam Harishon Shet, who was the son that was born to Chava after Hevel had passed away. We actually we descend from Shet. So right over there, I'm going to point it out to you again, at the bottom of this valley is where all those tzaddikim are buried, including the son of Adam and Chava Shet, right there. So that's good. So I'm filming it from far. We'll be able to see it more from the other side when we go down a little later. Okay, ladies, we just left the gravesite of Yitro, and we are now on the way to the kvarim, actually side by side, the grave sites of two tzaddikim that we've already visited in the past, but we're going to visit them today again. Rabbi Akiva, alav shalom. Now, Rabbi Akiva, one of the reasons why I wanted to go to his kever today is because we are in the midst of the Omer, and as we know, his 24,000 students perished during this time period. So it would be appropriate to visit Rabbi Akiva, to be menachem Rabbi Akiva for this time period. And also, he was such a big tzaddik in his schos a lot of Torah was learned, and as we know, even Moshe Rabbeinu said on Rabbi Akiva that he should have been the one worthy of receiving and giving over the Torah to Klal Yisrael. Next to Rabbi Akiva is the Ramchal, Rabbi Moshe Chaim Luzzatto from Padua, Italy. We spoke about him quite a number of times. He is actually a Gilgul, was a reincarnation of Rabbi Akiva. That's why they're buried one next to the other. The Ramchal actually fulfilled the tikkun of Rabbi Akiva. As we know, Rabbi Akiva began learning Torah at a very late stage in life. He was 40 years old when he started to learn even just the Aleph Bet, the alphabet. He couldn't even read Lashon Kodesh. So there were 40 years of his life where there was a deficit of learning Torah. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu sent the Ramchal, Rabbi Moshe Chaim Luzzatto, as a Gilgul of Rabbi Akiva to fill those 40 blank years of learning. That's why, by the way, Chachamim tell us that already at a very young age, the Ramchal was reaching very elevated levels of spirituality because he had a lot to cover in a short span of time. Sadly, he died at the age of 40 because that was his tikkun. He didn't have to be here longer. He just had to be here the 40 years that Rabbi Akiva had that deficit of learning Torah, which is why they're buried one next to the other. We're going there very soon, and I'll film it when we're there. We just arrived at the kever of the Ramchal and Rabbi Akiva, but look what is across the road! Oh, how beautiful is this? Yam Kinneret, the body of water of the Kinneret, which is written in Sefer Devarim, by the way, about the holiness of this particular body of water. Look at this, and that's just a part of it. But right here, here's the kever, right here of the Ramchal, Rabbi Moshe Chaim Luzzatto from Padua, Italy, who's really the Gilgul, the reincarnation of Rabbi Akiva, who's buried over there. We're going right now to pray there. I'm taking you. See, it says over here in Hebrew, on the right side, it says Sha'ar Rabbi Akiva. That's the gate of Rabbi Akiva, and on the left, Sha'ar HaRamchal, the gate of the Ramchal. We are now going. You don't know what a zchut it is to visit the Ramchal's cave right here. Last time, by the way, when it was at night, we got here at night. And nobody was here, but Baruch Hashem. Okay, here we go. We are now going to make sure we enter from the right section. Let's see, because it's divided. As you see, here it is. Ish Elokim Kadosh. He was a holy, godly man. Rabbeinu Moshe Chaim, his name was Moshe Chaim Luzzatto. Zecher Tzadik V'Kadosh Livracha. The acronym for his name is HaRamchal HaKadosh, the Ramchal. Nolad, he was born Bishnat Hey Taf Samech Zayin. He was born in the year Taf Samech Zayin, which is in the 1700s, and he was Niftar. Very interesting. He was Niftar Chav Vav Iyar. That's now. Niftar Chav Vav Iyar Bishnat Kuf Vav. Wow. 40 years later, but look, Chav Vav Iyar. Ladies, Chav Vav 26. That's Yud Kei Vav Hey. Wow. What a zchut it is. So first and foremost, we're here to celebrate his yahrzeit, which is coming up in about 3 weeks from now. And we're zeicha to be here. And second of all, to thank him for all the Torah that he learned and all the secrets and all the Sfarim that he wrote. Mesilat Yesharim and all the Sfarim that he wrote that really are Musar Sfarim. They're Sfarim of rebuke, that help a person rise in levels of spirituality. They did do some renovations here because there used to be a wall on the actual caver that separated the ladies from the men. They took off the sign over here that we read last time. So we are going to, wow, what a special occasion it is that we're here. We're going to say this tefillah right over here. We're going to recite this. It's a tefillah that we're supposed to say by his kever. And then we're going to daven. And we're going to have you all in mind. Ladies, we are now at the gravesite, which is, as we said, just a few feet away. You see, this was the Ramchal. And just mamash a few feet away is the entrance to the gravesite of Rabbi Akiva ben Yosef, also known as Rabbi Akiva ben Gerim. They're doing some renovation work over here, which is why you see all this stuff going on. But as you know, Rabbi Akiva was a tremendous tzaddik. He wrote. His Torah is unbeknownst to us. There's certain things. The value of his Torah. Let's put it this way. Many rabbis were able to be mechadesh on the words of Torah, on psukim, on certain words, but Rabbi Akiva was on such a high level that even the little tagim, even the little symbols that rest on top and below the letters in the Sefer Torah, he knew the secrets of the tagin, of those symbols, of the little hairs, so to speak, that pop out, almost like kotzim, that come out of the letters. He knew the chidushim, he knew the revelations, what each one of them meant. So this is the gadlut, the greatness of this man. And of course, as we know, he was one also of the Asara Harugei Malchut, one of the 10 martyrs who died a terrible death by the hands of the Romans. And he died with Kiddush Hashem, sanctifying Hashem's name, with Hashem's name on his lips, the last words that he uttered before HaKadosh Baruch Hu took away his neshama, is Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. So we're going to dive in here and we're having you all in mind. We are now approaching, we just left the kever of the Ramchal and Rabbi Akiva, and as you can see over here, we are now approaching the kever, the gravesite of the holy Shelah HaKadosh, the Shelah HaKadosh, the holy Shelah, who wrote Shnei Luchot HaBrit, the halachic work, that embodies the mechanism and the workings of both the Torah Shebechtav and the Torah Shebe'al Peh, meaning the Shtei Luchot HaBrit, that encompass both the written and oral law. He was a big tzaddik who was a rabbi, the rabbi of Austria at some point, the chief rabbi of also Frankfurt. At some point, he also moved to Prague after the uprising. There were many pogroms that took place in his area in Europe. Eventually, he made it to Eretz Yisrael after his wife was niftar in the early 1600s. I believe it was in the 1620s. And he ended up in Tzfat, was learning a lot in Tiberia. And this is a very, very holy man. Oh, by the way, one of his descendants is the Jose of Lublin. It's a very big tzaddik as well. He, by the way, the Shelah Kadosh has a special tefillah sefer that people use in order to daven with certain incantations, etc., etc. Plus, there's the famous tefillah of the Shelah Kadosh that he specifically composed, that many, many women and men recite. So right here, right where it says, by the way, guess who else is buried not too far from the Shelah Kadosh, as you can see the sign, the Rambam, Rabbi Moshe ben Maimonides, who, as we know, was a medieval commentary, lived in Spain and then eventually emigrated to Egypt. He was a physician, a huge physician. He was a big gadol, very, very big Talmid Chacham. He wrote Moreh Nevuchim, Yad HaChazaka. He wrote very many Sfarim that today are learned worldwide in every yeshiva by the Ashkenazim and also by the Sfaradim. Obviously the Sfaradim, Rabbi Moshe ben Maimon. So we're going to be visiting both Rambam's kever and also the Shelah Kadosh's kever. We are now about to enter the gravesite of the Holy Rambam. As you can see, it's written here, a famous pasuk, famous verse that was actually said concerning Moshe Rabbeinu. That what? Mi Moshe ve'ad Moshe, from Moshe till Moshe, lokam ke Moshe. There wasn't such a man that was able to rise up like Moshe Rabbeinu, meaning who could be like Moshe? Moshe is the greatest Navi, the greatest prophet that ever lived. Who could ever outdo Moshe in his righteousness and his holiness, etc.? But what our rabbis explain to us is that mi Moshe, from Moshe, ve'ad Moshe, until Moshe, which was the Rambam, whose name was Moshe, right? Lokam ke Moshe. There hadn't been a person since Moshe Rabbeinu that was able to fulfill so much in spirituality, ve'ad Moshe, until Moshe the Rambam came along. And obviously we know that he wrote very, very deep Sfarim, all inyanim on the Torah, and that's why it's written about him, Moshe ad Moshe lokam ke Moshe. We're now on the way to the kever, and we'll also, there's a few Kvarim over here also that we're going to visit and see. Right here, let's take a look and see who's here. We have quite a number of tzaddikim that are buried one next to the other. Wow. Okay, so right here we have the Shelah HaKadosh that we spoke about. This is the tefillah that he wrote, a prayer that he wrote specifically for the children, for the parents, hahorim ala tzatzaim, for the parents to pray for their children and all the descendants thereafter. Very beautiful tefillah. This is the kever of the Shelah Kadosh, Rabbi Yeshayahu ben Avraham Levi Horowitz. Over here, wow! I didn't even realize we have the kever right here. The Matzevet Hatana Ha'eloki Kadosh, Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai. He was such a huge tzaddik of the Talmudic era that you have no clue, ladies, what's going on over here. Who's over here? We have over here Rabbi Yoshua ben Chananya, Rabbi Yossi HaKohen, Rabbi Shimon ben Netanel, and Rabbi Eliezer ben Arach. Do any of these names sound familiar to you? You know why? Because these are the Gedolim that were responsible for the Mishnayot, for Pirkei Avot, the ethics of the fathers. Amar Rabbi Eliezer ben Arach, Amar Rabbi Yossi HaKohen, and so on and so forth. They're responsible for all of these Mishnayot. And here we have, who do we have over here? Oh my gosh, I can't believe it. Rabbi Eliezer ben Hyrcanus. People, you have no clue. You just have no clue. Okay. Rabbi Eliezer ben Hyrcanus. What can we say about him? Let's start from the very beginning. Rabbi Eliezer ben Hyrcanus was the son of Hyrcanus. Hyrcanus used to give a lot of charity for yeshiva institutions, for learning. But he held that his sons should be businessmen. They should really just work. And they were working the fields, but Rabbi Eliezer, who was at that time just pretty much working the land, toiling the land, felt that there was something more than just producing fruits and vegetation from the land. And he left the house and he ended up learning in the yeshivot, and he became a big Talmid Chacham, but he was so poor because he wrote to his father saying that he wants to abandon the life of being a farmer and an agriculturalist, and he wants to just sit and learn Torah. His father threatened him that if he quits working for him, he's going to disown him. So Rabbi Eliezer really grew up in dire straits. He was quite poor, and it says on him, the misken, poor man, that he was so poor that he didn't have anything to eat. He would eat the earth, the grass, anything he could find on the ground. And what happened was, even rocks, he would chew the rocks to get some minerals. And as a result of that he used to eat whatever was on the ground, he developed breath in his mouth that wasn't so pleasant, and people would have a very hard time sitting and learning with him because of his breath. Nobody knew how poor he was, until one of the Rabbanim finally had a schmooze with him, and they said, what's going on? You have to take care of your digestion. And he understood the hint, and he told the rabbi, I eat the rocks from the ground. And the rabbi understood, and slowly they were able to sustain him. The story goes that one day his father came to visit, and there was a huge banquet, and the rabbis insisted that his son get up to speak and give a huge drasha. And once his father saw and heard the words of Torah that emanated from his son's mouth, it's then that he brought him back into the fold of the inheritance, and he was able to live in comfort. But Rabbi Eliezer ben Hyrcanus, first of all, has his own sefer, very, very deep sefer, called Pirkei de Rabbi Eliezer. It's secrets of the Torah, from Bereshit through various parshiot. The sad news about Rabbi Eliezer ben Hyrcanus, and it's very sad news. First of all, very interestingly, his Talmid. Can anybody guess who his Talmid was? And if you could say to yourself, if his Talmid was this guy, if his student was this man, can you imagine who Rabbi Eliezer ben Hyrcanus was? You know who his Talmid was? Rabbi Akiva. Rabbi Akiva was the Talmud of Rabbi Eliezer ben Hyrcanus, and now you know the levels of this man. He was the teacher of Rabbi Akiva. And if Rabbi Akiva was the teacher of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai and Rabbi Meir, you could just imagine who Rabbi Eliezer ben Hyrcanus was. The sad part is, because Rabbi Eliezer ben Hyrcanus was on such a high level of learning, there was in the Gemara a story that took place where he paskined the halacha regarding a specific oven. We're not going to get into the details of the whole machloket, but he said that something was allowed, and the rabbi said it was not allowed. And even though mishamayim, it was decreed that Rav Eliezer ben Hyrcanus was indeed correct in his conclusion of what the law concerning this oven was, the rabbis contested the words of Shamayim, because they said the Torah is not in the Shamayim. The Torah lo b'Shamayim hi. The Torah was given by Hashem to be disputed here on earth, and we dispute Rabbi Eliezer. But because Rabbi Eliezer held to his ground, many rabbis unfortunately excommunicated him. They put him in cherem. It was very, very difficult for him. He lived the end of his life with a great deal of sadness because he was excommunicated. And as a matter of fact, we're told, the Chachamim tell us that when the rabbis excommunicated him, HaKadosh Baruch Hu held the reins back for quite a while. There was a famine in the land in order to show the rabbis that they should institute him back into the fold. But the rabbis held, no, the Torah is here on earth. We can't let this go, because then anyone else can come along and dispute the rabbis. And according to our Torah, the majority rules. But the main thing is that nobody disputed the fact that Rabbi Eliezer was a huge and holy man. We're here. You don't know. Hello? Shla Kadosh. Rabbi Eliezer ben Hyrcanus, Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai, all the tzaddikim of the Mishnayot. Oh my goodness! And guess who we have over here? Wow. Hold on, I gotta get in there. And Matzevet, now we've got like this. Look, we had Tanaim. Those were huge giants of Torah. And then we had the Amoraim. The Amoraim, or we'll say, for lack of a better word, were one level, one step below the Tanaim. And here we have two huge Amoraim, one of which was also quoted in the Talmud. Matzevet HaAmoraya Kadosh Rav Asi, and over here, Rav Asi is over here, and right next to him, Matzevet HaAmorai, the gravesite of the Amorai Kadosh, the holy man, Rav Ami. Wow. We're going to take a few minutes break to dive in here, because just this little area over here is full of holiness. And I'm going to have you all in mind. One thing I want to point out to you that I forgot to tell you about Rabbi Eliezer ben Hyrcanus. First of all, he was the Talmid, he was the student of Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai. So now you can imagine who Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai was, that he was the Rabbi, the teacher of Rabbi Eliezer ben Hyrcanus, who was the Rabbi of Rabbi Akiva. Can you imagine? Now, one of the many items that he taught us in the Mishnayot, Rabbi Eliezer said something so profound. Rabbi Eliezer ben Hyrcanus Omer, it's in Mishnah Pirkei Avot, Perek Bet, Yehi chevod chavercha chaviv alecha keshelach. It should be so that the honor of your friend should be dear to you as your own honor. Meaning, just the way you would want to be honored, you should honor your friend. You should give honor to your friends. And Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai said something also very profound. If you learned a lot of Torah, don't hold of yourself so highly. Don't think, oh, I'm a big... wow, I'm a big tzaddik. Why? Because that's why you were created. The men were created to learn Torah. So the ones who are sitting and learning shouldn't hold of themselves so highly that they're sitting and learning, because that's what they were created for. That's why they're here, to learn Torah and to grow into... And that's, by the way, the Tanaim who wrote the Mishnayot. Besides Torah, they taught us ethics. That's why the book is called Pirkei Avot, the ethics of the fathers. It's not enough to learn Torah. A person who doesn't know how to behave, how to speak, how to interact with Hashem and with others, or more than anything with others, is not fulfilling his part in the Torah. Everybody can sit and learn, but not everybody can have honor towards his friend. Not everybody can behave properly towards another human being. So these are the Gedolim who taught us how to make a Kiddush Hashem in the world, how to sanctify Hashem's name through our behavior, through our interactions, through the way we speak, how we think, what we say, what are the things that should be important to us as Jews. So these are the greats of the greats. Ladies, right by the Rambam, you're not going to believe who is here together with the Rambam. We've got over here Rabbi Maimon ben Yosef. So first and foremost, we have the father of the Rambam. So we've got the father of the Rambam here. We've got the Rambam. Maimonides is here. By the way, you see the dates over here. The Rambam died, lo alenu, in Egypt on the 20th of Tevet. Wow, that's 9 days short of my birthday. I was born on the 29th of Tevet. In the year 1204, it was December 1204. Very interesting. That's the Rambam. He's also here. We have over here Rabbi David HaNagid, who was the grandson. Thank you for correcting me. The grandson of the Rambam, who wrote a commentary on Pirkei Avot. So we are now going into this area where all these tzaddikim are buried as well. What a schut! What a schut! Look at this. Wow. Okay, let's read what it says about the Rambam, because we're here to learn. Kol yamav hikpid harambam al atzmo ve'al acherim. All his life, the Rambam was very careful. He was very stringent on himself and of others.
Leval yasu et haTorah kardum lachfor ba. That you have to literally, like, it's almost as if you're digging through the Torah to bring out all of its depth. V'sirev lekabel kol sachar avur avodato hatoranit. And he refused to receive any type of reward for his service of Torah learning. Milvad avodato refuit hameyagat bekerev anshei chatzer hamelucha. The only thing that he was willing to receive a salary for was his work as a physician in the kingdom of whoever it was that he was serving, whether it was the Spanish king or the Egyptian sultan. Tipel harambam gam behamonim shetzav'u al daltotav. He also took care, talking about physician-wise, on anyone who knocked on his door, a Jew and Gentile alike. Al af hakavod harav shezacha lo, he was greatly honored. He'id Rambam al atzmo, even though he was greatly honored, he said on himself, ki lo bikesh le'atzmo ela limud haTorah bilvad. He really didn't want the honor. The only thing he wanted to do in the world is to be able to learn. Elu hagdolot v'hashrerut ata b'zeh hazman einan etzli hatzlacha ela tachlit hatorach v'amal hayegiah. He said, all the work that I ever did in my life is nothing compared to the work that I feel I accomplished in my Torah learning. Wow, very, very special. Ladies, this is the gravesite of Rabbi Moshe ben Maimon. Right here, the Rambam. We're going to take a moment to daven here at his kever, and we will be back. Notice what it says over here. Niftar bekir Mitzrayim v'nikbar be'ir hakodesh Tveria. He passed away in Egypt, but he was then transported to be buried in the holy city of Tveria. That just shows you how important it is to be buried in Eretz Yisrael, the holiest land in the entire world. Ladies, we just now exited the kever of I'm still on a high from where we were. The Shlach Kadosh, the Rambam, his grandson, his father, Rabbi Eliezer ben Hyrcanus, all the Tanaim of the Mishnayot. Oh, I can't handle it. Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai, the two Amoraim, Rabbi Asi and Rabbi Ami, right? Whoa. I was just telling the girls, the ladies who are here with me, that had we just come to this spot here in Tveria, it would have been enough for me. Dayenu. Toda Rabba to Nachman, our driver, who is taking us to such beautiful places. And by the way, Nachman is an amazing nahag. Anybody who's coming to Israel should please use him. 054 84 544 21. Guys, if you're coming to Eretz Yisrael, Nachman. He's not Me'uman, by the way. Okay, ladies, we are now right by Rabbi Meir Baal HaNess. Look at this view. Whoa! Of the Kinneret. Look at that. How gorgeous is that? Look at this. We are now making our way to Rabbi Meir Baal HaNess's gravesite. I believe we were once here, where I told you a little bit about Rabbi Meir, whose real name, his Aramaic name was Rabbi Nehorai. His name was Nehorai, which means light. He was referred to by that name because he brought a lot of light through his Torah learning. He was married to a really righteous and smart woman named Bruria. Bruria was actually one of the women, it's very rare to see in the history of our people, where a woman can sit with the judges and help judge halacha cases, like cases in Torah law. Thank you so much. In Torah law, very rare. So this was a woman who was on a very high caliber. Rabbi Meir also was known to redeem people who were in captivity. He actually redeemed his own sister-in-law who was captured by the Romans and put, sadly, in a brothel. This is not where a Jewish girl belongs, and he redeemed her. And actually the Roman guard that stood guard over her didn't want to release her, and Rabbi Meir gave him a satchel of money. And the guard said, well, I don't mind taking the money and releasing her, but when my captains come back and they see that the girl disappeared, I'm going to be executed. So Rabbi Meir said, look, all you have to do is say the following words and you'll be protected from any harm. Eloka de Rabbi Meir, the God of Rabbi Meir, aneni, answer me, and you will be answered. So the guard let her go. And sure enough, the captains came back. They realized that the girl was missing, and they wanted to execute this soldier. So they prepared to hang him with the noose and all. Next thing you know, they're about to release the lever to hang him, and he screams out the words, Eloka de Rabbi Meir aneni. Boom, they released the lever. The whole thing came crashing down. The rope broke, and he was able to run away and escape, so he was saved. So just so you know, those words, Eloka de Rabbi Meir aneni, the God of Rabbi Meir, please answer me, are very potent words. We're going to go to the kever now, and I'll be right back. We are now in the kever of Rabbi Meir. Now notice over here, you see, there it is. There's that phrase, Eloha de Rabbi Meir aneni. You see that? That's the famous saying. We're now going to go to the kever, to daven. I believe this is the ladies section right here. Right here. And we are going to take the time. Right here, this section. This is the direction of where we daven. See, here it is again. Elohad Rabbi Meir aneni. We're going to pray here, and we'll be back soon. Right here, you see where it says Shmo Shel Rabbi Meir Baal HaNess, the name of Rabbi Meir. Where does it originate? In the Gemara of Eruvim, it says, Lo Rabbi Meir Shemo. It's not his name. Rabbi Meir was not really his name. Ela Rabbi Nehorai Shemo. Velama nikra Shmo Rabbi Meir. Why was he called Rabbi Meir? Shehu Meir einei chachamim be'alacha. He used to enlighten the rabbis with his laws of Torah. And then it says over here all the different things that he used to do. V'ra'a ze pele shesham meir lo matzinu leshum tana or amora acher ubemet be'eruvim amru. It's talking about the life of Rabbi Meir and the halachot that he did. And over here, you see over here, right here, is a tefillah, is a special prayer, neged ain hara, against the evil eye. We're going to say it. זכות רבי מאיר בעל הנס יגן בעדנו, שנעבוד את בורנו עבודה שלמה, עבודה תמה לאורך ימים ושנות חיים, ולא תאונה אלינו רעה ונגע לא יקרב בעולנו. ובזכות רבי מאיר יהיה כל זרעי זרע קודש, זרע אנשים שלמים במידות ובדעות. אלוהי דרבי מאיר ענני, אלוהי דרבי מאיר ענני, אלוהי דרבי מאיר ענני. This is all for you guys, that you should be spared from the evil eye. And you see here that this was a tefillah that was instituted in a sefer called the Pele Yoetz. This is a big gadol. Ama shalom. We'll be back. Okay, ladies, I'm taking you back to that spot. Remember, this spot over here, we were here last time. This room, where we're going to light a candle for Rabbi Meir Baal HaNess. Right here. I'm going to light one candle on behalf of all of you for the Tana Eloki, Rabbi Meir Baal HaNess. But this is what we're going to do right now. So I'm going to give the guy the tzedakah, and then we'll light. All right, ladies, now I'm good. Here we go. We're lighting this candle here. Leilui Nishmat Rabbi Meir Baal HaNess. Alav Shalom, Zchuto Yagen Alenu. That's our candle. Right there. Where to go? Right there. That's our candle. You see it? Beautiful. Ladies, we are now about 3 minutes away from a place called Amuka, which is where Rabbi Yonatan ben Uzziel, alav shalom, a huge rabbi of the Talmudic era, also is buried. And it's a place that is mesugal, is also a auspicious place that is capable of drawing down barachot, blessings for those who want to get married. Now, the driver went off the road over here to a special road right here. You see this road? It's on a you can't see it, but it's on a decline. It's going down, 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 all the way down to there, you see? Now, this road, I don't know what's going on underneath here, but he says there's a special pull of gravity that pulls people in the opposite direction. Instead of pulling you down, it pulls you up, anti-gravity. And we put the car in neutral. Oh, that's what you should do. So I should show it to them. Nachman, put the car on neutral. Watch what happens to his car. You see he's on the hill? He's now in neutral. Look. He's not. Nachman, oh my God. The car is driving by itself and pulling him up. I can't believe it. Now, oh my God, he's on neutral. Guys, something is going on here underneath the earth. He says it's a mystery to everybody. Now, he says the same thing can happen when you pour water down this road. If we poured water down this road, it will go back up again. So let's try it. Hold on. Okay, we've got Eliezer here. Eliezer's going to pour the water down the road. Pour. And let's see. Oh my gosh, it's true. The water's going up. Look at this. The water is going. Wow, it's pulling it up. You see it is going up, up, up. Look at this. It's pulling it up in the opposite direction. Look, it's all going up. You see that? It's pulling the water up instead of it going down. You see that, ladies? You see how it's pulling it? It's pulling it up. You see that? Look. Look over here. Instead of it going down, as you can see, it's not going down. It's coming up. Here's the water. Look at it. It's coming up. Oh my gosh, that is incredible. Ladies, do you see this? You see this? How the water went up from there all the way up here? Oh, look over here. How it's coming up over here. Show it. Wow! That is spreading up. You see it there? That is incredible. Okay, everyone, we are now heading, it says over here Nashim, means women, heading towards the kever of Rabbi Yonatan ben Uzziel. He was a big Tana, and many people come here in order, like I said, in order to have a special blessing to be able to find their zivug, their partner in life. Some people actually circle the grave 7 times with certain Tehillims that they say, certain chapters of Tehillim, in order to increase the blessing and to make it happen more rapidly. We're going to approach the kever and we'll be right back. Okay, ladies, we are now entering the kever of Rabbi Yonatan ben Uzziel. As you could see, there are many women here right now who are praying here. Right here is the actual gravesite. And we are going to say a few words here at the gravesite of this great holy man who lived during the Talmudic era, Rabbi Yonatan ben Uzziel, and we will be back soon. Ladies, we just came out of the kever of Rabbi Yonatan ben Uzziel, the great Tana Eloki. I wasn't able to tell you too much about him while we were there. There were many women in the kever. Let me tell you now very quickly, just so you get a perspective of who this man was, this Rav. First and foremost, the great and famous sage, the great tzaddik and Talmid Chacham Hillel Hazaken, Hillel the elder, had 80 most distinguished Talmidim. 30 of them were said to be worthy to enjoy the Shechina Hakdosha, just like Moshe Rabbeinu did. You know what kind of level you have to be on to be worthy to enjoy the divine presence like Moshe? That was the first group of 30. The second group of 30, he said, were so great. They were so great. They were great enough to stop the sun in its tracks, the way Yehoshua ben Nun did in Begivon, when he made the sun stop rotating. And the other 20, they were said to be what we call Benonim in terms of their Torah study, which is still considered amazing. Now, here's the clincher. Wow, look at this. We are mamish in pasteurized areas. Look at this. These cows all over here. Cute, very cute cows. Anyway, listen to this, ladies. Now, if you remember, about an hour ago, we had just come out of the kever of the Shla Kadosh, of Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai, who was the teacher of Rabbi Eliezer ben Hyrcanus, who we said was the teacher of Rabbi Akiva, who was the teacher of Rabbi Meir Baal HaNess and Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. Remember that? Well, guess what? Rav Hillel Hazaken, the Hillel the elder, said on all his Talmidim that the greatest of his Talmidim was Rabbi Yonatan ben Uzziel. Shamata? Rabbi Yonatan ben Uzziel now. And the smallest of his disciples was Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai. Do you understand what I'm telling you? You understand what that means? We were just now at the kever of Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai, who was the teacher of Rabbi Eliezer ben Hyrcanus, we said was a great Tana, who was the teacher, Rabbi Eliezer was the teacher of Rabbi Akiva. And Rabbi Akiva was the teacher of Rabbi Meir Baal HaNess and of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, and all the 5 giants of the Talmudic era, of the Tanaim. And Rav Hillel is saying that from the greatest of them was Rabbi Yonatan, and the smallest was Rabbi Yochanan. So could you imagine if the chain of teaching, of teacher and student, of Rabbi Yochanan, who was the smallest disciple, ends with Rabbi Akiva and his students, said, of which the greatest of his students was Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. Can you imagine who Rabbi Yonatan ben Uzziel was if he was considered the greatest of his Talmidim? Wow. That's the level of the Tana HaEloki, Rabbi Yonatan ben Uzziel. Also, ladies, Rabbi Yonatan ben Uzziel is most famously known for what? His Perush, his interpretation of the Torah, which we call Targum Yonatan ben Uzziel. He gave a Perush of the Torah that was very, very elevated. Let me tell you a story that's brought down in the Gemara about Rabbi Yonatan ben Uzziel, ladies, as we drive to a very distinguished pair of Talmudic learners, of partners, called Abaye and Rava. Let me tell you something. Chachamim tell us that when Rabbi Yonatan ben Uzziel wrote his Perush, wrote his commentary on the books of the prophets, specifically on the Navi, the entire Eretz Israel, the entire Holy Land, was shaking. And a bat kol, a heavenly voice, called out, "Who has dared to reveal my secrets to mortal men?" Kadosh Baruch Hu wanted to know, who's revealing the secrets? So Rabbi Yonatan ben Uzziel answered, "I'm the one responsible for revealing, Hashem, your holy secrets to mankind. But I don't do that for my own honor and not for the glory of my ancestors am I doing this, but solely that Jews should understand what the prophets really were trying to tell them in their words." And then Hashem agreed that his perush should be revealed to everyone. You understand what we're talking about over here? That means that Rabbi Yonatan ben Uzziel, his perush, is a perush from Shamayim. It's from the heavens. Because Shamata? HaKadosh Baruch Hu was wondering who's revealing the secrets. That means that his perushim are not stam. They're extremely elevated, extremely holy, and they come from one of the holiest places in Shamayim. This is incredible because they're revealing the secrets that Hashem didn't necessarily want them to be revealed, but because of the honor of the prophets, of the Nevi'im, he allowed Rabbi Yonatan ben Uzziel to continue writing the Perush on the Navi. However, there are, when Rabbi Yonatan ben Uzziel, you hear this? Decided to write a Perush on the Ketuvim, meaning on the Torah, and also other parts of the Navi and the Ketuvim, which is certain scrolls, Hashem said no. He was forbidden to do so. He says because there are certain secrets that cannot be revealed until the coming of Mashiach. But this was Rabbi Yonatan ben Uzziel. Wow. And we're now on the way to Abaye and Rava now, two very distinguished partners in learning of Torah. They were very kind to one another. They were very good to one another. So we have the zechut to be there as well. Ladies, we are still in Amuka, but notice how high we are. The hills are alive with the sound of music. You see what's going on here? Whoa, 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 whoa. We are way up high. We are now on the way. We got to walk down this road because the cars can't go down this road to the kever, the gravesite of the holy Talmudic pair, Abaye and Rava, that lived during the time of ancient Babylonia. One was the public Rav, the other one was what we call the hidden Rav. That means he only taught in the yeshivot, while the other Rav was the general leader of Klal Yisrael. So we are now taking a walk to Abaye and Rava, and when we get there, we shall continue. We'll have you all in mind. And by the way, as we walk down these roads over here that are wired here on the left with barbed wires, you really, really feel like you're in the ancient Torah, going through history, literally walking the paths of our Rabbanim. They probably went down these roads either on foot or on a donkey or on some horse or buggy or I don't know what. Actually, if we're talking about Abaye and Rava, even that, they probably came down this road on donkey, and it was very hard. They probably even walked their donkey because look how high they were. Look how high they are. And I'm going to zoom in so you see what's going on here. See how high we are? Whoa. So, we're going to continue to walk down this path of ancient history until we arrive at the holy Abaye and Rava. Guys, we just got to the kever. This is the kever of Abaye and Rava. We have to go down these steps over here. that lead to the kever. But I want you to notice something as I'm going down, okay? Soon I'm going to turn to the left, and I want you to see what is across from the kever. Hold on a second. Going down because these steps are very wide. Watch this. Right across here. Look at this view. Check it out. Look at this. Wow. Marabu Ma'asecha Hashem, as the guy is saying here. It's beyond Marabu Ma'asecha Hashem. Look at this. We are way up in the hills. And now, here's the incredible thing about the kever of Abaye and Rava. It is literally inside a cave where they would sit and learn Torah. You see that cave? Now over here we're told Me'arat Abaye and Rava. This is the ancient cave of Abaye and Rava, that they were both learning Torah. Okay, so let's go. It's lit up. Okay, we are going down. Wow, it's incredible. Wow, you really feel like you're in ancient history. Look at this tunnel, ladies. Oh my gosh, look at this. It's incredible. It's incredible. This was the cave. Look at this. We're going down. Obviously, they added the steps, but if you could see here, you see it's ancient wall here. Cracks and crevices and whatnot. Wow. Look, people over here lit a candle. They found the hole in the wall. So they lit a candle for the tzaddikim. We are going down the steps. Look at this, ladies. Wow, you see what's going on here? Wow. Wow, wow. Wow. Right here. מי זה? הרב? This was one of the, he was an Amora here. Harav Dimi. And Abaye and Rava are right here. Wow, this is the first time that I see a kever that's literally on the ground. Right here. Look at this, ladies. It's incredible. This is mamish incredible. Look at this. Oh, this is where I used to learn Torah. Can you imagine? Wow. We're going to take a moment to say some Tehillim over here and we'll continue. Okay, ladies, we just came out of the kever of, really we should say the cave of Abaye and Rava, and I noticed that right outside the kever to the right, as you're walking further down the path, which is a very narrow path, is this very interesting, fascinating tree. Look how it grew in a round shape like this, in a curve-like shape, with the trunk, like it's got a semi-trunk over here. You see that? Semi-trunk over here going into the ground. Look how thick it is. And then look at this. This is the tree. Wow. And then it curves up this way to the right. And it goes up. And it's quite tall. It's quite tall. You see? It's quite, wow, look at it. That's incredible, this tree. Look at it. Wow. Ladies, what we're experiencing here is not normal. And look over here, across from the tree. Look at the view. Again, take a look. Take a look at this. Wow. Wow. We are now on the road out of visiting Abaye and Rava. We are now heading a place called Beria. Is it Ir? It's like a town, is more like it. We are going to the gravesite. We're going to the gravesite of the great Davidian era sage. He was also a general in the army of David HaMelech and Shlomo HaMelech. He was a great Talmid Chacham, Benaiah ben Jehoiada, alav shalom. The Ari Kadosh, alav shalom, who was a great tzaddik and a luminary that lived, I believe, in the 1500s, if I'm not mistaken, the end of the 1500s, something like that. The Ari Kadosh, when he was alive, sensed that every time he hiked to a specific spot, there was a specific spot that he kept saying. Okay, so the Ari, what's amazing about the Ari is that the Ari is actually the one who actually spotted many of the Kivrei Tzadikim and called them out, so to speak, for who they were. Like he would sense a specific spot and he would say, right here is buried this and this and this tzaddik. And many of the Kivrei Tzadikim, he did this 500 years ago, the Ari, many of the Tzadikim that we now know where they're buried is in the schut of the Ari Kadosh. Now the Ari Kadosh, as he once was hiking with his Talmidim about 500 years ago, honed in on the grave of Ben Jehoiada, who was not only considered the most brilliant warrior and general of his day, but he had extraordinary Torah knowledge, and he has tremendous midot, tremendous virtues, and he actually became the leader of the highest Torah law body, which is the Sanhedrin. He became one of the leaders of the Sanhedrin. Can you imagine? And he also was David HaMelech's chief advisor. Chachamim tell us, it's in a machloket, aval, this is a man that was zeicha to see the first Bet HaMikdash being erected in his time, because he helped Shlomo HaMelech a lot. And it's even said that in his merit of Torah learning, the first and the second Bet HaMikdash Bechlal stood. It's also said on Ben Jehoiada that he was considered one of the Lamed Vav Tzadikim here on the earth, one of 36 righteous men found in every generation, in whose merit the entire world continues to exist. This is Benaiah ben Jehoiada. Now, just as a tidbit about this great tzaddik, quite a number of years ago, a little over 100 years ago, when the Ben Ish Chai first traveled to Eretz Yisrael, one of his first stops was to the kever. He asked to go to the kever of Ben Jehoiada. He was literally mishtateach sham, which means he literally placed his entire body upon the grave, as if his head was on top of the head of Ben Jehoiada, where the legs, where the hands were, in order to draw down the Torah knowledge and the spirit, we'll say the spiritual encouragement of Ben Jehoiada. The Ben Ish Chai writes that after he did that, his mind expanded to places that he never dreamed of before. Here it is, we got here to the kever, and that he started to see things and know things that were hidden from him before. In the merit of what he was able to attain at the kever of Ben Jehoiada, which is right here, he wrote a sefer, he wrote a book called Ben Jehoiada, which is filled with the secrets of Torah. So we are now going into the kever of the great tzaddik, and we'll film it from inside. Ladies, I'm sorry we didn't go in yet, but I have to tell you a couple more tidbits about Ben Jehoiada. Benaiah ben Jehoiada. I just read over here that he's noted to be one of the only men in history who was able to write an entire Sefer Torah, a Torah scroll, in one day. A scribe today, it takes him a little over a year to write a Sefer Torah. And that's if he's a quick scribe. Benaiah ben Jehoiada was able to do it in one day. Wow. He was a great man, military man. He was great in Torah. But here's the thing. Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, the author of the Zohar HaKadosh, the esoteric Jewish teachings of the Zohar, he said that all of his wisdom of the mystics came from the influences he received from Benaiah ben Jehoiada. Can you imagine? He said all the influences of Benaiah ben Jehoiada flowed from above and came into him. But, he says, when Rabbi Shimon passed away, all the influences of Benaiah ben Jehoiada stopped flowing down to the world. Wow. You know what that means? It means that there's certain people here in this world that the tzaddikim who are in the other world realize are proper and true vessels to receive the divine influence. But once they're no longer here, they don't feel that they can give over, they can no longer transmit the secrets of Torah to other people. Wow, that we didn't know. Ladies, we are now walking into the kever of Benaiah ben Jehoiada. It's not a simple thing to go into a kever of such a man. It really, really isn't. It's not a simple matter. Wow, here we are. Here we are at the kever. Okay, look. Okay. Benaiah ben Jehoiada was known as a Ben Ishchai, Rav Pe'alim. He was a gibor. See, Mekabtzel, who hika et shnei Arel Moav. He was strong. He battled with Moab. Hu yarad ve'hika et ha'ari betoch ha'be'er. He struggled with a lion inside a pit, and he conquered. Not only did he conquer, b'yom ha'shalag, and it was a snowy day. Ela asa Benaiah ben Jehoiada. All this he did, Benaiah ben Jehoiada. Velo Shem b'shlosha hagiborim. He's considered one of the three giborim of Klal Yisrael. Now, the famous Ben Ishchai of Baghdad, who's known as the Ben Ishchai, really his name is Yosef Chaim, right? He wrote a few Sfarim in honor, I told you, in honor of Ben Jehoiada, Benaiah ben Jehoiada. One of the Sfarim is called Ben Ishchai. The other one was called Rav Pe'alim. See that? One of them was called Ben Jehoiada. And he had a few Sfarim that he named after this tzaddik. But the interesting thing is that the Ben Ishchai, that was the name that everybody called him. And there are stories told over that he himself felt that he had a spark of the neshama of Ben Jehoiada. That's why he felt so close to him. Can you imagine? That's probably why the Ben Ishchai was such a huge Talmid Chacham. Okay, ladies, we came out of Benaiah ben Jehoiada's kever. We are now on the way to the gravesite of the one and only Rabbi Tarfon, a holy man from the Talmudic era, who was also the Rabbi, the teacher, one of the teachers of Rabbi Akiva. Very holy man. He honored his parents so much. There was a famous story that his mother once lost her shoe, and he ran to her in order to make sure that her feet don't touch the ground, and he put his hands in place of the shoe. That's number one. Number two, as we're going on the road to Rabbi Tarfon, by the way, as you could see, he's buried like in the middle of nowhere. Soon we're going to see. There is a place, we know that Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, who wrote the Zohar HaKadosh, learned he was revealed, all the revelations were revealed to him by Eliyahu Navi in a designated cave that he ran to with his son for fear of his life from the Romans, right? But after he came out of the kever, he wanted to write down everything that he had learned. So, stop over here. What's this? This is the place.
Yes.
Wow. Okay, so this is the place over here. Can you go a little further? Right here. Stop. This is the place. Right here. Let me just zoom out. This is the place where Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai actually wrote the Zohar HaKadosh. Right here in this little kind of enclave. What is like enclave? What is it called? Enclave? Aidre?
Rabbi.
Wow. You see this? This is actually where the Zohar HaKadosh was written. Wow, that's incredible. And we are off now to Rabbi Tarfon. I want you to notice where he's buried. Guys, do you see that it's smack in the middle of nowhere? We're just in the middle of a field here. If you pay attention, you'll notice it's very, very fascinating here. Notice it, and we're climbing up. We're going up, like the other place. And look at these, just smack in the middle, some probably Bedouin is living here. Right here. You see this? We're still going uphill to get to Rabbi Tarfon. Wow, who is also, by the way, one of the Asara Rugei Malchut. Oh my gosh, that's it! Oh my goodness. He was one of the 10 martyrs who died a very tragic death, unfortunately, by the hands of the Romans. We are now going to his kever. I want you to notice, wow, here we go. Not a simple Tana. Rabbi Tarfon was a huge tzaddik. Look at this, is the road that leads to his oh wow, look at the ducks.
Oh, chickens.
No, they're not chickens, they're ducks, I think.
Both chickens and... Oh,
can you imagine? Like, we feel like you're back in ancient times. We are now driving down the road to his kever. We just arrived at the kever of Rabbi Tarfon, which is up there. We're going to go up the steps. And I want you guys to notice something. I'm not going to say what. Just going up soon. Rabbi Tarfon is buried right here. Look at this on the hilltop. He's on top of the hill over here. We're going to go up the steps. That's where his kever is, right there. We're going up the steps to this great man's kever, and soon you're going to see something astounding. As we go up, here we have the writing that says Hatana. This is the kever. It is this of the Tana Rabbi Tarfon. This is it. Now, do you notice anything interesting about this kever? I'm zooming out. We're going in. This is the kever itself. Look at this. Anything interesting? What about it? What about it? Go ahead. Is this a normal tree?
no, it's the giant branching apple.
Okay, so first of all, look at the trunk. Look at the circumference of this trunk. It is a massive Massive tree. Look at this. That's number one. Look at every branch. Did you ever see such a branch like this? Look how thick it is. You see how thick it is? You see that? Yeah. Did you ever see that? Now, look at this branch. This branch goes out. Look at it. Follow me. You're following me? It goes into the ground. You don't see it because the grass grew here. It literally goes into the ground over there and then out again. You see that? And continues upwards. Is that fascinating? Look at this. Look at the trunk of each of these. Look at the trunk of this tree. Massive. Look at up there. You see how it grew? It's not and not only that, but right here, look how these two branches grew mamish just on top of his kever, extending themselves to the top of his kever. You see that? And then out. Is this not fascinating? Ladies? Look at this. This is one of my favorite spots, holy spots. You feel elevated here because you realize just from the tree itself how much is really going on here spiritually. This is not a normal tree. This is not a normal tree. Look at this. Incredible.